Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Me Live broadcast of the WTRL Team Time Trial number 83. We're out on the Watopia Hilly course for 3 laps. Last time we were out on this course, from what I'm being told, it was actually 4, so it's been shortened up just a tad to keep you from suffering over the top of the forward climb a little bit too bad. But it's going to be a fast one with 27K. Dave, I'm Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle, we're Zwift Community Live, and I think this week, Dave, it really just comes down to the forward climb. I mean, it's essentially just a kick in the face for 2 to 3 minutes, and every single lap after that, steady. And for me, this course brings back a lot of memories, not necessarily of team time trials, but my own time trials, because this course is something I used for intervals in the 12 to 14 minute range, everything I got, because the jersey, the old school orange jersey, the original only one you could ever get on a course, because prior to any expansions that were ever on Zwift, for the longest time, the only orange jersey was this course, actually. So if anybody had it, it was the only one you got. And so we were battling like crazy for this. So it's going to be interesting to see what the times are compared to what a lot of people for a long time have been shooting for that jersey for years.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Nathan, when you look at it, the scheduling per lap for the team. So going from 4 down to 3 on what is really a challenging course. This is going to bring out the best in our teams. As we mentioned, we're into the 83rd consecutive week of the WTRL. So a lot of these squads really know what they're doing out here. This climb, if you threw this into, the first few times that you've raced, this climb would blow teams up. But I think you're going to see them handle it with much more aplomb at these days. But it's certainly, that's going to be the pinch point out there, no doubt. So 27.4K doesn't sound long, but it's actually going to be a decent amount of time in the saddle here. And it'll be interesting to see. So this is the Premier League, our top 10 teams from around the world. Teams kind of come and go. It's been interesting with the ZRL going on right now, how the teams that have experience with the WTRL have really had a leg up on the squads that don't in that ZRL. So this has been a proving ground. And then you look at all of the different categories that we have. We're going to jump in with the Viennas a bit out there today and try to shine some light on the riders doing a good job out there. But as is the norm, Nathan, I'd say some of the best racing every week, all year long, happens with the Vienna category. That's the women. And we're jumping in with Sisu Du right now. The Espresso, that's the elite men's category. Not to say a woman couldn't jump in with them, but I'm going to throw it right to the action, Nathan. We're going to have checks today at 6 kilometers, 12 kilometers, and 22K into this 27.4 long race here today. So we're underway. The first teams are heading out on course. Again, this is Sisu. And Nathan, let's just talk about it here. Teams up to 8 riders today. Time taken off of the 4th wheel. So it's a little bit different. Not really that different, just a little different than what you see in the ZRL. But a split happening here, so they'll just need to stall the beans a little bit, get the team back together. This is at this point, Nathan, nothing to panic about.
Not hugely. Now, this is going to be interesting, though, because there will be a few seconds lost one way or another here because of this split. And as I was saying earlier, what do you do about this? That is 5-6 seconds. You've got 2 off the front here at this point. You need your best 4 across the line. So it'll be interesting to see how this ends up playing up, because they do have 4 gone now. And they could get organized. Now, those 4 chasers are kind of starting to organize. Maybe they go into the red with a couple of the riders and bring them back while the others just soldier on. But I think that, in my opinion, that would be the way to go, because you're going to lose a lot of time here, though. And this, as I said, because of what a wall Watopia forward is, the 2-tier kicks, and you kind of just have to lay it all on the line and then use the speed by going, all in over the top. I wonder if anyone was kind of holding back or if it was just a little bit too much, but we do see Roberts here on the front, 148. Looks like maybe Roberts was holding back a little bit to try and allow some of the other riders to come back to the wheels here, because pretty low heart rate at this point. I think she is going to be the workhorse to bring back the front pack at this point. But at 3.7 on the front, this is a massive amount of time lost to bring 4 back to the group.
Yeah, actually, they're going to, though, here. It's just so early with over 27 kilometers of racing.
Yeah.
You just can't go with four at that point, especially with the danger of if a rider has a technical problem, then the race is over. So it's definitely not ideal, that's for sure, but they're able to get this back together pretty quickly. They're going to have plenty of time, or every team is going to have plenty of time out here today to make up for some missteps early in the race. It's not quite as critical, I'd say, because you've got a lot to work with out here today. So really just a matter of finding your rhythm now. And yeah, I mean, you can see in the time that we've been with them here over the last K and a half, they've gone from all over the shop to pretty tidily organized right now as we're back in with Sisu. And this is where they want to be. So now, Nathan, this is where you can start to slowly, steadily apply a little more power, a little more pressure on the accelerator here, and just make sure that, those riders that just fought back, as you said, if they've been in the red zone, the last thing you want to do is put them right back into the hurt locker here, because then you're going to be in the same situation. So that's where the finesse comes in that we talk about in team time trialing. Well, again, as you see, the teams are starting based on their reverse order of the finish, more or less last week. Sometimes you'll see teams that jump in. So based on last week's time, we start in a reverse order. So the fastest teams are the last out on course. You can see it with Socks for Watts that won last week, or their WRT edition that won last week. The Wonder Women are going to be back to challenge. That's turned into one of the best battles that we get to see in the WTRL week after week. So we're in with the TBR Watt Bomb team. This is Liza Ricchetto, a rider well known in the in real life world, who Liza up in Boise, Idaho, was a big part of the Supermint Hagens Berman team for a long time. I believe that would be El Ricchetto. I guess I should make sure.
I would be surprised if it wasn't with the pro jersey there.
Me too.
Good shout out. Good shout out there, Dave. Ricchetto here, pretty cool pickup here then by TBR Watt Bombs, because I'm not sure that has been a rider that's been with the big
no, definitely
up
not
until
Nathan.
This point. So pretty cool to see the jumping into the TBR team, and with Despas there, that's going to be
that would make sense.
Yeah, and Despas, she's motivated. She's super motivated. I do know that. I do get some communications going here and there, and little hints that they want to make it to the top. So I have a feeling there's a little bit of recruiting going on perhaps in the background. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe she has been around. I may be making some assumptions. There isn't necessarily an official roster out there, so that we are able to
Nathan,
publicly see. But go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to jump on you. I'm just excited. I 100% agree with you. I believe that Despas and Ricchetto are friends in real life, and it is Liza that you're spot on there, and that's going to be a huge addition. Ricchetto is also an Iron Woman. She's got extensive time trialing experience, is a coach. I mentioned out of Idaho, but also really well known as part of the Northern California community. Riders like Catherine Curie. So this is a big addition. You know what, Nathan? Let's watch and see what adding one really strong rider does for TBR Watt Bomb, because they've been perennial contenders, but I don't think that they found the top step of the podium. But this is how you do it, bringing on talent like Liza.
Yeah, 100%. That is a great point there, Dave. And it's cool to see, the messages I've been getting from Despas have been very, very much like, watch out for us. We're on our way. So good to see. We're getting some questions coming on through. Boy. And these are the current course records as they stand. 2020, who are not riding in the Platinum League because they did take a rest last week, and you do have to earn your spot no matter what. No
matter who you are.
No matter who you are, it is always earned in the WTRL TTT. So you get into Platinum. Go ahead, Dave.
Nathan, on that point, yeah, I think it's great that that's the case, because rules are meant to, people say rules are meant to be broken, but I think when you're doing something like a time trial, they're meant to be followed. I know Martin is nodding his head somewhere right now. But even if they showed up with Kristen Armstrong and tried to flex, which they never would, 2020 is such a respectful team. But let's just say, if you got the three-time Olympic gold medalist on your team, you might think, don't we kind of have access to whatever we want, right? Well, you don't get to play those cards. They don't try to. And it's sort of like the Leadville 100. Remember, Nathan, when it didn't matter who you were, you had to qualify through the lottery to get in. And it made it that much special when people did get to do that race. I like the same thing here. The strict rules are based on the top times from all the different zones. We have 11 different zones. That's including Platinum League that we're racing right now. But Nathan, I don't care who you are. You got to qualify to be here. So definitely 2020 will be back next week. I heard that they're onboarding some new riders as well as we're kind of in
Really?
that. Yeah, I'm not sure who they are, to be honest, but I know that there's some new. You're going to see some fresh faces on that team.
Well, with only 2 more races in the Premier League, that makes sense. That maybe start planning up towards season 2. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. And I do highly expect also that 2020 will be on track to get back into the Platinum League, though, with that time of 38 minutes, because it's a screaming fast time. We'll see if it can take down the top time, but they have been right there after we did see that. They had an admin mistake on Monday, but they still were within 29 seconds of the win with Heino. So, I mean, obviously, they are crazy strong still. So,
isn't that great, Nathan? What your point right there is, if you just read the results and you don't know the story of the race, you would think, well, they finished 4th. That was really not a great day. Well, it was just a little hiccup at the start. They started a minute late, but that was a fantastic ride. That actually should be encouraging because they're getting closer to Heino. I know that, Nathan, you've talked about how hard they've worked, and it's starting to pay off. And I don't think there's a discipline in cycling. Every discipline in cycling requires hard work if you want to be successful. There's no easy path to being good at bike racing. But the team time trial, Nathan, that might take more dedication because you have to work with 5 to 7 different riders' schedules. And there is a lot, as you would know yourself, you're doing it now. And I think that's awesome, to tell you the truth, that you have embraced that. You've always raced more kilometers per month than anybody I've met. But doing the team time trial was even a leap of faith for you, I think.
It really was. You're right. It really was jumping into the deep end a little bit. And it's one of the funnest things I do every week. It's now a part of not only my training program now, looking toward fat bike season, and fat biking obviously up here in Wisconsin is a pretty big deal. They do have national championships. They've been here locally some years, so it's a big deal. And so, I'm definitely putting it in amongst that, though, at this point, because I'm recognizing when I get done racing the team time trial, I'm like, that's whatever place we got in the world for this, in the world amongst this category. Right. You don't jump into, and that was one of the cool things early on about Zwift, was that you jumped in and you were like, I'm racing all these people from all over the world. And look at this guy's from Belgium, this guy's from the UK, and this, wow, this is awesome. Now, because of the organization of WTRL and how popular it is the biggest cycling event in the world weekly, essentially, is what I'm looking at here, that you're getting into that event and you're amongst pretty much everybody that's who's who in your category, which you look at your result and you go, well, that's awesome. Even if you get last place, you are at that place amongst everybody who's participated in the world. It's like very, very encouraging, a big motivation. So it's been a lot of fun. And I want to give a shout out. Hayes is actually, OTR is out here, and I've been racing with them, and big thank you to them. Big shout out to them for allowing me to guest ride with them, as it's been a lot of fun. Those guys are great. And they got teams all across all the categories, which is really awesome. Now we are jumping in with, it looks like this is going to be dirt. DW here now hammering away, and Russ here off the front. As they've kept things fairly organized here over the top of this 2-tier climb. They're into their second lap now, 11 kilometers in, 160 beats per minute. Nice little ride here. It looks like not getting too disorganized, but having to hold up, maybe keeping things. Now look at this with the rhinos now in this category here, as Small Shot, Lockley, Kruger all closing down that gap, though, to the dirt riders.
So we're in with the A's. That's going to be our Espresso group. And boy, the rhinos are incredibly well organized now.
Excuse me. I had the wrong on the board there, that we are actually in with this is the lattes that are in the A's. The C category is the
Espressos. My bad.
That's my fault, actually, for having the wrong boards up for you there, Dave. Got you a little throwing you there, throwing a loop at you there.
You could catch me with that one anytime. I don't think people truly realize how. So Nathan does the commentary, obviously, but if you could only see how much of the producing goes on there, and we're just talking about fat biking in Wisconsin, well, there's a lot of fast fingers and smart brain action happening there as well, Nathan. I'm always so impressed that you can do all of the different elements as well as commentate. It's actually mind blowing. And actually, if you wanted to get Nathan racing too, he could do that. We haven't found the limit yet.
Weeks. One of these weeks, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna have the talent racing. If it's not me, it'll be Anna. If it might be, we gotta get you out on the bike. We got Kate out on the bike. Maybe Martin. Possible. Who knows? We got to make it happen.
We did this last weekend. We did for Smile Train. We did a really, really fun presentation for them, and I recognized how hard it is for a host to be on a bicycle, try to control your breathing, and that made me a little fearful, to be honest. I don't know how you do it sometimes, Nathan.
There was that one on Crit City that we did. Anyways, back to the racing.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Hey, but while we're doing that, Nathan, I know we're not in with the mochas today, but I owe a shout out. I know the poster competition continues, and every week I am so impressed with. It seems like almost every team either has a graphic designer or a relationship with some type of graphic designer, because across the board, you guys do a great job. But a couple of weeks ago, Nathan, no surprise to you, I forgot to mention Charlie and his team. The Big Ring Boys, TBR Z6M1. They had a great poster. I said I was going to nominate them to win, but that really is a moot point when you look at how they've been racing. They have set 5 course records over the last couple of months in our Mocha category, and I am so impressed by that because, as you know, Nathan, even at the top level, it's super hard to stand out. Well, that holds true for every single category here. And in that Mocha group, there are a lot of teams who race really well together. So to the TBR Z6M1 guys, a big tip of the cap to you. Keep it up. Keep the great attitudes. And Charlie, I appreciate you.
Yeah, and TBR always awesome. They've been organizing events out on Zwift for a long time. They do a great handicap race. Be on the watch out for that if you want to get into a solid race that you can be involved with, where all the categories start separately and chase each other on a certain time gap. It's always been a lot of fun to participate in those, and I can't say enough how much I like their energy. And if you jump into their races, they're almost always involved in the races that they put on, and then you get this very much welcoming vibe. So really great to see, them getting the shout out and everything that they're doing in the community for a long time. They've been around a long time now. So now I do want to jump in. Let's I'm gonna jump over to the front end of we've been in with Dirt here and the Rhinos now for a little while here in with the lattes. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the Espresso here and see how things are playing out. We'll get the change up going on with the boards now, and it is going to be at the front end of the Espressos. A couple of times starting to trickle in here.
Oh, wow.
It does look like it's going to be, from what I can see, is that going to be on the rivet with 1842, 1851 from VCR Dogs at the 14K, but it was Innovation, Cryo RDT, Z-Sun Red Giants. That's the real competition for first, second, and third. Evo Extra Turbo Snails, and then Vision D-Pack. We had a little bit of delay with some of the data coming on through. As soon as it does come through, we will get the rest of those 6 kilometers to walk in. We will have a steady flow of data today. It is good to go, but it's not a snail today. What would we say? I don't know. What's the other? It's maybe like the Rhinos. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get.
It's moving like a caterpillar. It's moving like a caterpillar.
There we go, like a caterpillar. But it's coming. It's on its way, and I'm happy that we do have some data and some splits on here today.
Hey, let's talk about PO Auto, Nathan. They're one of the best team time trial squads in the world. If I remember correctly. So there's going to be a lot of crossover between the ZRL team and the team that we have here. I'm going to say that's fair to say, right, Nathan? Probably more than half of the guys that race. So it's a really strong team, and they have depth as well when you talk about PO Auto. And they also have tremendous amount of experience. The Ram Raiders are going to be their main contenders out here, Los Torpedoes as well. So looking at some of the top teams, and again, you'll see this data refresh here, and we'll start getting you up to speed on what's happening there, give you a full feel for what happened at that 6-kilometer check. And actually, we're going to start filling in at that 14K checkpoint here as well. Nathan, it's always so challenging, as you know well yourself. Once the road goes uphill, it favors a special kind of rider. It's the watts per kilogram monsters. Now, for the riders then, that to be fair are a little bit heavier, they can make the big watts, but they also carry some pounds or kilos. It gets really, really tough at this point. And this is where, if you're riding on the front, this is the discussion that we seem to have. I mean, it's a big part of the team time trial discussion. As you watch one rider sort of surge off the front, it's not quite the way we want to do it. They're filling in quite nicely here. And again, they're going downhill at this point, a pretty significant little short downhill there. But as they regroup here, boy, it's a fine art, isn't it, Nathan? Keeping the team together and moving at your fastest, the fastest speed possible, where you aren't putting riders in so much trouble that they're going to crack.
Yeah, and it's a solid ride here by VCR.
It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Yeah,
no, they've got a good ride. 1851 still holding at the top. It looks like World Elite Zwifters lost Torpedoes as well, coming in behind them. Look at the battle here, though. It's a 20-second difference, so that can be made up on this final lap. 20 seconds, especially with that kicker right in the middle of everything, as they're heading into their one lap to go here amongst the Espressos. The Espressos are flying. Now, I have a feeling that these are going to be sub 12-minute laps. From what I'm looking at here. I mean, we're at 22:47, maybe just a little bit over, because it's going to hit that 24 minute as they're finishing out this lap. So it is very close. I have a PO Auto and these top teams. I think they are going to be doing those sub 12, which is insanity type pace here. So I'm not looking forward to tonight actually too much now as I'm looking at this. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I've kind of been prepared, but at the same time, I'm like, whew, this is, I mean, the hardest interval. And I would do the one-lappers at 12:30 solo on a TT bike. So given, and the average that I'm shooting for is a 5.5 for a one, everything I got 12-minute interval or more, and so that's, I mean, this is painful. This is super painful. That's for sure.
We used to do these crank it up tours. It was actually pre-COVID, of course, where we would go around to really cool bike shops in the United States, and they did them in Europe as well, where we would use the forward climb, Nathan, as our a testing climb for people to try out Zwift, and we would have prizes.
The KOM challenges, we did that.
Oh yeah.
We were both on the tour of Zwift tour of North America. Right. That's what we're talking. Yeah, gotcha.
It was super fun. But so my point was going to be, I remember a high school football team was having pizza next to one of the bike shops that we were doing it at. And all the guys came in and they decided to try it. Well, just that one, what is it? One a little more than 1 kilometer for that timed climb, Nathan. And I mean, a guy like you would do it in 1:30, 1:35, maybe, if you were really making a big effort. Well, these fit young 17-year-old football players who are, in the prime of their youth, they would get on their bikes, go out way too hard, blow up, and then finish in. But with pride, they would finish, but their times would be over 3 minutes. That's 1 kilometer of the course, right? It just gives you a feel for how fit these guys are. They make it look easy, like anybody who's great at what they do, like you, Nathan. Like you make it look easy. So same thing here. When you look at World Elite Zwifters on our screen, this is going to be Demi that we are with right now. This is a squad that's as experienced as any team in the sport, no doubt about it. Although the ideal situation would be, at this point, you still had at least 6 riders. They're down to pretty bare cupboards right now with 5, Nathan.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough go for the final lap, I believe, for World Elite Zwifters. We'll see how it ends up playing out, though, as they head into this uphill. SZ, though, with a solid time, is they're only 44 seconds behind, so this is going to be the Lost Torpedoes, 18:58, but they are battling it out, it looks like, with the Ram Raiders now, so it'll be interesting how that ends up playing out. Only a 1 second difference between them. Look at Cryo coming in at 18:15 at the 14 kilometer mark. amazing battle between them and Innovation here now. So we'll see how that plays out. We have not seen any times from PO Auto at this point. I think that that's going to jump in just a moment. We won't have that first 6 kilometer mark, but if they go sub 17:57, Innovation versus PO Auto is going to be an awesome battle to watch.
I tell you what, if they go sub 18, right? Talking about PO Auto. And hey, I don't think you're exactly right, Nathan. We're going to pick them up at this next split, which should come in the next minute or so. It's going to be very interesting. So here we go, folks. We're locking it down now. It's going to be a 1-lap battle. It's going to be a little, like, let's say 18 seconds right now back to the Vultures from Cryo RDT. And 33, so make it 36 seconds there back to the Evo Extra Turbo Snails. But I think we're both anticipating that PO Auto is going to be very, very close to that 17:57. I mean, if you let the past performances over the last month be any indicator, they might be even a little bit faster down in that 17:50 range is possible here today, Nathan, talking about PO Auto here again. So when you see the C up there, that's going to be our Espresso category here today as we're in with the Ram Raiders, another one of the top teams. And boy, they're not only flying right now, almost at 50, just touching on 50 kilometers per hour on this flat sector.
Yeah, and that's the goal, really, in my mind, when it comes to, if you're ever looking at the Espresso group, you start getting these speeds into your mind when it comes to the world of Zwift for the current physics meta, right? So there's in gaming, a lot of times you talk about the current meta, the current way that the game is played, the current tactics and way the game is played, what the choosing of the bikes is. So in the current meta, if I were going to say, when it comes to bike selection, for all around, you got Tron. For flats, you've got the specialized Venge with the 858s. For climbing, you've got the Trek Madone with the Mellensteins, right? That's the meta on bike, right? The meta on speed on the flats for the current in-game physics is you want that 50K. On flats, it's all about the 50K, right? Like, hit 50 kilometers per hour, you know that you are at the top of the Espresso category. Amongst each one of the categories, they're going to have that number, knowing here's the speed we need to aim at on the flats, right? Now, they just need to hold it together over the top. This is the final climb for the Rad Raiders here. We'll follow along with them as well as Z-Sun here to see how they take this on, because I think they can kind of go all in and just come over the top with 4. That would be my goal at this point. Just make sure that you don't blow everything completely apart, but come over the top with as many as you can, and then let the rest go, because it's everything to the line.
All right, Nathan, I am just hearing that PO Auto has scratched. They did not take the start today. So that will explain them not coming through 6 kilometer. They won't be coming through 14 either. So your fast time is 17:57. That's the bike race that we're looking at now. And we're getting our first checks coming in there from the 24 or 22 kilometer checkpoint. But again, 17:57 from INC Innovation. That's the gold standard. That's the benchmark time there at the split that came almost at the just past the middle part of the course out here. 3 laps today on Watopia Hilly Route. So, okay, Nathan, no PO Auto.
No PO Auto, which means that Innovation have definitely put themselves solidly at the top with a almost 20-second gap back to Cryo RDT. Now, did they go out a little bit too hard is going to be the only question, I think, still to that's remaining amongst the Espresso category. As we do see Ram Raiders, they've got a little bit of a chase going on here with Z-Sun hot on their heels. If we look at the times here, 18:57, Z-Sun 18:36. That will explain the gap that you see, how close it is. And now look at how Z-Sun is climbing, is forcing Coin as well as Jones either get on terms or we are gone. Now, letting these two come back, I don't think is the answer here. If they were to just hang on to the green Tron bike, that would be, if they could hang on to Nilsson here on the back, then maybe I would say, just let up. But with that 1 or 2 seconds now at this point, nope, just go. All in. Brownie's going to push it at the front. Anderson, Eled, that's the game now playing at this point. 4 to the line there, Dave.
Yeah, I sign off on that all day long, Nathan. So here's what I would say to the 2 guys that are just behind, and they're probably sitting 5 seconds off the back. I would say, guys, keep pushing on because we might need you, right? So just keep riding here. Every spot matters, but these four, I think that the task at hand is going to be their responsibility. So that 100-meter sign, I didn't realize those were always out there until recently, but that's 100 meters. It's not really that steep at this point. It starts to flatten out. Well, not quite, but when they get a little closer, the last 100, oh, I see now. That was the 300-meter sign. I got it. So here's where it starts to flatten out. Is they're going to finish up the KOM sector here, as we're looking at some times coming through. Only 6 seconds separating the doggos, the VCRT, from on the Rivet Haze. But right now, it looks to me like this is going to be INC Innovations' race to lose. This will be a big one for them. To give PO Auto credit, just to revisit that quickly, they did race in the Premier League to a top three on the Zwift Racing League Team Time Trial. That was the third that they had this last Monday. So I can completely understand.
Also to speak to like how incredibly committed PO Auto is to esports. They have a lot of different events at this point that they need to schedule out, right? And as you can see here, as Jep Tobel's jumping on in, letting us know, PO Auto is racing the Scandinavian race in 10 minutes. The race is arranged by the Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian cycling federations to specifically aim at checking out and racing on the World Championships course that will be taking place with World Championships in just a few weeks. So obviously very committed to the world of esports here. You've got to pick your races sometimes. WTRL TTT I think is definitely always on their radar, and but with the Premier League, then having World Championships coming up, I mean, I think Stripes, the World Championship Rainbow Stripes, is a pretty high high priority on their on their radar as well. So good to see a PO Auto so committed, and thanks a lot, Jep, for letting us know. I'm going to go ahead and jump around a little bit here. We do see where the times were sitting last. It looks like it is a little bit of battle with Innovation and Cryo. But let's go ahead and see how things are doing in the Viennas now. As last time we checked in with the Viennas was with Z-Sun, and it looks like things are breaking up a little bit here as we're in with GOTS.
Yes, so this will be the women that we're talking about, and never good when you see one rider alone. And this is going to be a rider that must have done her work for the team. We're in with the choppers now. All right, well, maybe two teams here. It looks like a pass being made. I think we picked it up right in the middle part of the pass right there, because this looks like it's not going too poorly. We have just one rider needs to ease up, the yellow jersey there, that's actually moving up to the front of this group here. So this is the on go. There she goes, sitting up, I think. So the goal here is obviously
different team. So that jersey is not a
she's
TSC
on
jersey.
That team. She is a chopper.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. All right.
Bright neon versus like an off yellow mustard. that's the difference between those two, I think, because as you do, well, they're pretty similar at this point.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. There's a little bit different yellow. The other one's a little bit neon, but it does look like the Vixens were caught as the Chopters with this is a strong team. Look at the three professional triathletes. Bartlett's here, Gossage is here, and Lucy Childs hammering away at the front. 287 currently now, 4.4 on the front from Nikki. I have a feeling the Choppers are going to have a solid ride this week. Yeah. I mean, they're showing up in force, it looks like.
Well, and there's ebbs and flows to everybody's season, right? So, again, that is a team of, I would say not entirely, but it is the cream of the crop of British triathlon. A lot of these riders are pro UK-based triathletes. I could see where their Zwift season is going to start to ramp up at this point. We've talked a lot about Lucy, but this team has depth, and they were, I'm going to say, if you look back through the history, 83 editions of the WTRL, this is one of your all-time great squads. They're in that group with more than 10 wins to their credit. They haven't been participating at the same level over the last few months, but things are changing back again as we're moving into a new mode here. And boy, this is going to be a team to beat. So, that's going to be good for, let's use Socks for Watts or Wonder Women as an example, as this will spice things up at the high end for sure.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with you there that the time of year that we saw the Choppers drop off from their dominating performances was going into late spring and summer, and they might have started getting outside a little bit more. And now coming into the Zwift season, perhaps we start to see them being highly competitive. We haven't seen this kind of organization and this kind of a roster from them in quite a while. The current times that they're holding down are very competitive, right up against CCI Race Like a Girl, only a little ways back from Wonder Women currently. We only have to close down about 22 seconds. So a very big, addition here coming into the winter / Zwift season. And we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. Nikki now maybe with a little bit of a dropout, perhaps 6 watts per kilogram. She was so strong over the top of the climb. I don't think that she's actually in trouble. But we'll see if she can get back here, though, because if you lose that wheel, maybe she's waiting for Walter.
Oh, she's helping
at this
a teammate.
point, though, I don't know if that's worth it here. We'll see how this ends up playing out, because on the downhill, having that many bodies will matter, but they've already got 6, and that's kind of the magic number here, Dave.
Yeah, and Nathan, they're at 21K in. If I'm the 6, I don't wait. If Nikki can bring her up, good for them. But this is the squad, and they're going to have to keep rolling now. Nathan, once they hit the real descent, they're gone. What a 20, 30 meter gap becomes almost impossible to close. It's a small window, and it's closing right now, and it's going to slam shut in the next 5. That's it. They're gone. So this is it now. When you lose riders, they don't,
Nikki's up to 5.2. Nikki's up to 5.6. She's pushing 6 watts per kilogram. She wants to come back, but that means it looks like Massey's holding up on the front. What you need at this point, you gotta kick. Right. You gotta kick right now. 5% gradient. It's so important.
So if they really, she did it. She got him back in. That's incredible.
She needs to roll through, though.
Right there.
Take that speed. Do not slow down.
Did.
Yeah.
She
Keep
did.
moving.
This is incredible.
Keep moving. Wow.
Well, give Nikki, that might be the ride of the day. She got her teammate back up into the group. She did exactly what you've been coaching. The pro tip from Nathan Guerra is always keep the momentum. Don't just join the group and start freewheeling. Use that. You can turn a negative into a positive, right, Nathan? That's what you're trying to do in that situation.
This is something I definitely want to highlight here real quickly, though. Did you see how much speed she had to come through with, though? So that means that group had to slow down that much and was not bursting on the front. And one thing I definitely want to highlight is, the usual time trial way when it comes to just steady on the front kind of a situation. In Zwift, if you can manipulate it well enough and get everybody's timings well, bursting on the front, as you saw Nikki pull through with, if the other riders were ready for that, all that speed would have came with them. So we'll see how this ends up playing out with them. If they lost time or gained time here, I think it's going to be maybe a net loss, but maybe having those bodies through this last half of the course, it might work out for them, because with this many bodies rolling through with speed, this could be a couple seconds gained as well.
Yeah, this is the gameplay in the team time trial in Zwift. It really is fantastic when you start to realize how these little techniques, and when you start to stack them up on top of each other, it's not a little technique anymore. It's how you race a team time trial. And all of these skills need to be developed, nurtured, and passed on to your teammates. And this is a squad, Nathan, that should have that experience. There's a couple riders that will be new to the team, and these teams are constantly evolving for all the various reasons that life brings us. You see changes, that's for sure, but it's great to see the choppers back. And I'm looking right now that they do have the fastest time by quite a bit, although we're still waiting for Socks for Watts to come through. And Nathan, again, they're on a command performance today. Socks for Watts, even though we haven't been with them, they are leading, and they're doing this. Not this version, Aero Unicorns. It's the subset, the B team for the WRT team, who've been the dominant force out here. You hear us talking about the choppers for the last 5 minutes, but it's always worth remembering that Socks for Watts has now hit over 20 wins in 83 races, and they weren't even contesting the first 35 or 40 of them. So they basically, Nathan, have won more. If you look at the number of times that they've lined up, they win more than 50% of the time, and there's no other team in this sport that has that kind of a winning percentage. Socks for Watts are the queens of team time trialing.
Yeah, they really are. The only thing that's interesting is how this is going to play out between the trade teams in that are up and coming in the community races, and then you've got the Premier League where they're kind of split between it a little bit.
For sure.
We're gonna see how that ends up playing out because Heino rides in and amongst Sots for Watts. But if things have to change up, maybe because you have like a monopoly at the top at this point, and if it gets split up a little bit, you could see some more competition between them. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Not that anybody's going to come in and force anything, but just with the reality of how things are set up with Heino and then Sox for Watts, if they earn Sox for Watts in the community races a place at the top, they're going to be battling then against Heino. So, in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting how that ends up playing out. We are seeing that Sox for Watts have 24 wins from 28 races. What is that percentage there? That's got to be over 90%. That is an amazing percentage there. Good
I was
way to
being
place your bets.
conservative, wasn't
Yeah.
I? Just off the top of my head. I thought, like Eddie Merckx, the greatest cyclist of all time, considering by most cycling historians, he's at like 38% wins in his career, right? And you're right, that's not quite 90, but it's darn close. Somebody who's going to tell us exactly what percentage that is. But now we're in with Lenny Ramsey, the Dutch woman who lives in the United States now. This is Sisu. This is a super strong team. No doubt they look very good. This is a well-drilled squad that's getting better and better. So let's see, at 31:40, they're sitting in second place right now. They're having a better ride than the Wonder Women. That's a bit of, I'm not going to say a shocker, Nathan, but that's noteworthy to say the least. 7 seconds faster than Wonder Women.
Too. I wonder if Wonder Women had a struggle because the Wonder Women were going a little bit better than them. Oh no, it was.
They're pretty much
close.
the second best team out here. I would say week in, week out. Wonder Women.
Look at the times here,
Nathan?
though. Look at this here at the 2008. Right? 2017 at the last. So something happened in this last lap with the Wonder Women. They lost a solid amount of time, almost 20 seconds to CCI Race Like a Girl in the last lap. Something went down.
That sounds like I was going to say Discord, and then everyone's thinking I'm talking about the app, but it sounds like they must have had some like a split that they weren't sure what to do. Who knows? But yeah, that's unlike the Wonder Women, that's for sure. Let's see if it's only 7 seconds, however, to second place right now. So that's going to be a real battle between Sisu I Race Like a Girl and Wonder Woman. The Chopper's sitting at 32:20. So they're pretty comfortably in fourth there because it's more than a minute back to fifth right now. But I think it's the silver medal that's going to be the most hotly contested out here as we're in with Evoke now. I learned Evoke as a coaching service is what Evoke is all about. So it's always interesting. Wonder Women, I think there's a new Wonder Woman movie coming out actually pretty soon here. Is Yvonne Timewell, one of the cornerstones, not only of this team, but a very solid esports competitor. Thanks for jumping in with the Wonder Woman. I see we've got Monali Keller, so Mon is there, V, Win is there. So they've got all the right tools. It just looks like, Sox for Watts is that good, Nathan. They really are a world-class team. It's so interesting when you look at what we do on WTRL Thursdays and how much you can learn from it, but as Nathan was just saying, the Premier League teams are not the exact same teams that you see here. So you sort of get these all-star formations. It's just a really, really interesting mix that we get on WTRL days. That's for sure. 31:09, the fast time at that checkpoint. It's Sox for Watts, race to lose now, no doubt about it. But the Wonder Women are trying to find 7 seconds on I Race Like a Girl. There's plenty of course to do that with. They've got some really strong climbers here. Let's see what they can do. It's going to be a battle royale out here on Watopia's hilly route.
Yeah, and real quickly here, I just really want to, as we're heading into the finish line, I definitely, a little bit earlier on, I wanted to get this in there, but we do have the poster competition, and I do want to give a shout out to everybody before we head off, because we'll be finished with the broadcast in a little while here. And I just want to give a shout out. And every week now, I do want to try and give a shout out to every single one of the people who put the effort in, because it's growing. And we are seeing TFC have multiple in here. Thank you so much to TFC Phantom, to TFC Wellington as well. Thanks a lot. We're seeing here from each and every one of these riders. Velo Sport also put one, Cycling Come put one out there. We're also seeing Cryo RDT Renz put one out there as well. TFSIN Lincoln Saga we're seeing here. This is a great one as well. I mean, Captain David Hill from TFC Lancaster, the Dirty Chronicle again came in with one from the Dirt Diggler squad. Revo put one out there as well. So with the cheers, we really appreciate all of those that are putting in for the poster competition. The Wonder Women always do an amazing job with them. The OTR Hayes. But we did do a selection for this week, and all three of us came up with the exact same, myself, Martin, and Dave.
No way.
And this most definitely, in my opinion, was where it was at. The TFC Wellington maiden flight rivalry grows within TFC Bomber Command, however, and the camaraderie is as strong as ever. It's the Watt Bombs that really pushed it over. It is the Watt Bombs that pushed it over the top.
For me,
there.
it was.
Yeah, same here. And that I love in the creativity. Keep them coming, everybody. We look at all of them. We study them for and just get an idea of where things are. Hours and hours, 5 minutes before the broadcast. But no, I mean seriously, keep them coming because it's awesome to see the effort that's put in, and we definitely want to give a shout out to all of them. But TFC Wellington, great job on the competition this week, and you win the kudos. And maybe an extra 5 watts in the finishing up of their race out here today. But look at this here, though. I mean, classic catching Wonder Women is going to be socks for watts. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they're good. It's fair to say, Nathan, these days, socks for watts is basically Hino and Friends.
Yeah,
more or less.
Essentially,
I mean, it really is. And Hino has been, I don't want to harp on this too much, but as far as the ZRL goes, and WTRL has been a fantastic partner for us in so many different ways. Big shout out to Martin and Steven. But Hino has the perfect score. They've won all 6 of the 8 races that they're doing in their Premier League. 3 of them have been exactly this, the Team Time Trial. It's an incredible team. And Nathan, I've said it on World of Zwift, which I'm looking forward to tomorrow, that this team, it's the secret to their success. The secret sauce is how evenly matched the top riders are. As we watch Vicky Nealon bring them across the line there, Bexy Dew finishing for Socks for Watts. So it looks like Socks for Watts is going to get another one here. Make it 25 of 29. That is mind-blowing.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump in with the results in just a moment, everybody. We'll have to have a little chat. I think this week we are going to be a little bit slower, just as a heads up on getting some of the data to come in. So most of the teams have finished out on course at this point. So if we can jump in with a couple of more, we will do so. I believe maybe a couple of lattes are out on course, but I am seeing most of them have come across the finish line according to our data coming in. In the lattes, it was Viking Valhalla that was leading things out 30 seconds up from the Kirchmer Ear-Cycling. Viking Molnar a little ways back from them. The battle for 4th and 5th was 2 guys and TT1 Lancets. We can go ahead and just we'll leave the splits alone for now. I want to give also a shout out to the Mochas. We can maybe jump in with the Mochas here as we wait for some of the results to come on through. There's no reason not to as they're finishing up here, Dave.
Do you mind looking for my friends at TBR?
All over it. That's right where I'm going. That's right where I'm heading here, Dave.
They will greatly appreciate it. It's a cool group of guys. They've been the Socks for Watts of Mocha men's racing, to tell you the truth, Nathan. These guys have been incredible out here. Wanted to make sure we give them a shout out. And I think that this really is your perfect example of what Zwift Community Live is all about, as Nathan has done an incredible job of trying to welcome all levels of racers. We've had 5,000 racers participating in WTRL the last couple. Boy, they got good kits. These guys are spending their time on the Tron bikes.
Look at that.
Holy cow.
Looking good, for sure.
I mean, come on. I love the effort out here, gentlemen. So this is, again, the team that's been setting course records all over the place. They just don't miss a step. The big ring is what TBR stands for. There's another big ring team out here. So they're starting to grow like a mushroom.
Yeah, so this is going to be, so we have TBR 007, 007, it looks like, as well as the big ring. So there might be two of them. Is this going to be the team that you're looking for, though, with Harrison in here? I believe it is. Okay.
It is. Yeah. The other one are their buddies. They're
What
pals.
is this Mr. Milkshake? I'm loving the name creativity is part of it as well, isn't it? It's definitely part of it as well as.
Well, I told these guys, a few weeks ago, I referred to them as that R2D2 team, right? And I think that they're planning on doing something with the name, is what I heard, anyways. But I don't know. I don't think they need to change. I think that they've established the brand of Z6M1. I'm getting a T-shirt made, I think.
That
These
just
guys
says
are awesome.
Z6M1 on
Yeah.
it. Like
Yes. And then if anybody ever comments on it, you know that they are a passionate Zwift Community Live fan. You would think. So, although, you know what, Nathan, it's not over at all, because these hurricanes are always lurking around and they're only 15 seconds back. So our boys at TBR better stay on the gas here.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Know.
They're chasing their buddies as Went here, it looks like, as well as Sturgis. Welshie, they're actually dropping one of the riders here. They're going to have to wait up, it looks like, because Welshie cannot be let go. It looks like Woolgar now need to come on through. 007 has not exactly kept things together here. Need to call into headquarters and figure out what's going on here.
You're leaving the station. You left a suitcase on the side of the tracks. Oh, he's got a teammate there, Nathan. It looks like maybe he was coming back to try to help get everybody. And again, at this point, it's it's pretty crazy out there right now. It's pandemonium on the Watopia Hilly route as the TBR 07 guys are learning a little bit. You know, Nathan, have you had that experience in the last few Ks when everyone is completely knackered? It gets pretty hard to keep the team in formation.
Oh yeah, that's the hardest point. And usually you have a suicide moment for one or two of the riders where they just go to the front. They call it, well, at least one in my team, they call it, okay, I got one more pull. I got a suicide pull. That's all. And you kind of hear them mumble it through the microphone, like dying. I go, Joshua, okay, go do your thing. And they go to the front at 7 watts per kilogram or whatever for a moment. And then and our speed goes way up. And sometimes the thing is if you're not prepared for the suicide pull that they go for, you all die as well. Right? You all die as well. And you're like, close the gap. This is worthless. What is happening right now? Like, anyway, so
it's funny. You said you were going to throw yourself on the grenade, but you ended up igniting the grenade.
Exactly.
Right?
That happened to us last week. It ended up with like a 15-meter gap, and it was just. I felt bad because it was like the person's killing themselves, and everybody else is like that. What is that even doing for us right now? Went bring it in here for the 007 here. It looks like, and I've got a bunch of. Anyways, go ahead here, Dave.
No, Nathan, I love it. You learn so much about yourself under pressure, and that's what you're under the entire race in a team time trial. Sometimes, as the strongest riders, they have to show grace. Sometimes the riders that are at the lower end, they're the ones that get asked the most of in a lot of ways, and I love it. This is a strong finish here from the Big Ring 007 TBR. We got Harrison here, 4 riders, 3 of them on pink Trong Bites. These are our boys, and I think we'll see if they get another course. Well, they do get another course record because we've never raced 3 laps out here on Watopia Hilly route. So if they do win, they're going to have the course record today.
Yeah, no, they did catch the Rhinos. I was going to say.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they did really well out here. So now the Rhinos going to bring it on in. It looks like they were sitting 4th at the last time check. So we'll see if they can hold on to that ahead of a Gulf. They'll do so. That was a solid time gap here. Actually, Team Type 1 AA1Cs are going to be the next ones they definitely have to watch out for. The Rhinos were the second fastest out there. So TBR Z6M1 really with a jump. You know, this kind of shows, I think, that Z6M1, I think that their forte or their talent is going to be climbing maybe a little bit more, Dave. Perhaps that has something to do with it because this is kind of a climber's course a little bit, or at least a punchy course.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when it comes to this, you know, maybe more of a puncher's course where it's like you got the punch and then hang on. It'd be interesting to me is to see what kind of times they were pulling for the laps there as well. What's the orange jersey time currently? It's got to be low 11s, I would think, which is absolute insanity. having that kind of a time there when it comes to be amongst the espressos. Then for the women's side of things, I would think high 11s, maybe 12 minutes or so for that here. So let's see if the data's trickled in for us here. We're waiting for a few mochas, but otherwise all good to go is what we're being told. So we should have a full list of results out here. So let's go ahead and check out when things ended up playing out in and amongst the women here. And it looks like, again, no surprise, I think, here. Sox or Watts take it down. Look at the battle here from Zone 4, though, for second place. Very cool to see here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, that's really basically, you're looking at a second difference there between Sisu. For Sisu, I race like a girl. That has to feel fantastic. Now, 2020, Nathan, as you noted, racing in Zone 4, which is actually really similar to the Premier League. They would have just finished a few minutes ago. They were onboarding some new riders, I heard. I'll be interested to see what their roster looked like. For them, they got to feel good about that ride, as they're going to finish in front of Wonder Women, who are third out here in our Premier League. But you can see it's pretty rare you see a team not in the Premier League, but 2020 will be back next week, and we talked about that at the beginning of the show. You're only as good as your ride the previous week. There's no gimmies in the WTRL. So Wonder Women with a 38.58 in at fourth. The Choppers, good to see them back, and I think they're making some progress here. We'll see them on the podium again soon. They're in fifth. Z-Sun R Hypernova in sixth. The Aero Unicorns from the Sox for Watts in seventh. Aeonian Banditas in eighth. Cryo, RDT Renz in ninth, and then Sisu Du in 10th. So that's a look at the women in the Vienna.
Looking on through here.
Our top 10 out there.
Yeah, and there's going to... Whoa, look at this. This is what I was talking about with the Brat Pack, the BRT team. You saw what they did in the Premier League on Monday. I said that they had some sort of trade secret, and that goes to show it right there that the BRT boys are here to stay at the top.
Great catch.
Woo! Brat Pack with a 34-31 from Zone 5. Innovation, though, holds on in our Platinum League here at 34-51. So that gets the Brat Pack up into the Platinum League for next week if they're looking for a invite. Cryo RDT Vultures there, 35-14, a little ways back for third place. WTRL Volendam, 35-28, also from Zone 5. Competitive zone there, it looks like. The Evil Extra Turbo Snails, 36-09, and then it's going to be Z-Sen Red Giants, 36-16. Dirt Dagler right on the heels with only a 1 second gap for seventh. And then on the Rivet, Hayes, 36-21. It's going to be a tough time to beat. Oh, we're getting a little bit of an update here, actually, as a little bit of a change there as the Lust Torpedoes come on through here for that 10th place. And that is going to be because CISM German Tri, I'm assuming, just came in Zone 7. So for the rest of the day, the top 10 can get disrupted. In my Zone 10, I'm going to be looking at that 34-31 and wondering how much it's going to hurt to try and chase that down. I'd just be happy if we go sub 36 tonight because these are crazy fast times.
Nathan, I don't know that I can ever remember a team from a different zone. And again, there's 10 other zones besides Premier League racing that we've seen a win in or the fastest time of the day not come from Premier. Right? It's a very interesting situation.
Only when Sox or Watts are not competing. Only when Sox or Watts or another team for some reason have to jump back in because they took a week off or something, but usually not.
Exactly. Right, yeah. I mean, 2020 was close to doing that, weren't they, in the women's side? But here we go with Kirkmeyer E-Cycling 4 taking the win by, look at this, folks. A third of a second, a blink of an eye, a bat of a hummingbird's wings, maybe a few of those. But Vikings, Fenrir, so close. What a race that was out here today, and that was all in the Premier League for Frappes so far. Well, at least for our top six. Down to third place for two guys, Rim. It's going to be INC Alien Express in fourth. The Fleetwood Mac boys are back. R3R Fleetwood Mac in fifth. And then we see Team Type 1, the CGMs in sixth. Evo Vortex coming out of Zone 5. Evo Vortex 1 in seventh place. Eighth is Engard. They were racing in Zone 6 today. KISS Racing Team B in ninth of all of our combined zones that have raced. There's still a few that are yet to get out there onto Watopia Hilly Route. Kiss Racing team, though, in our Premier League that we just had, Team B in 9th, and then R and K. That's Rowan King Gazelles. In 10th, they were in the Premier League here. So, again, it's always interesting to note, Nathan, that in our Premier League, you're going to see some teams from the different zones getting in there. Zone 5 and 6 were able to sneak in from the Frappes today.
This Frappe, first and second, 37.45. I love the battles we're watching here. Team T1 CGMs as well as Evo Vortex 1 there. Also at 38.18, less than a second difference. Really some hotly contested battles for placings here in the top 10. Always great to see. Keep those competitions going. And I'm assuming they've got a little bit of a rivalry going on. Cool to see. Vikings Valhalla 40.04, walking away with it a little bit there by over 30 seconds over Kirchmer E-Cycling and the Lattes. Viking Mjolnir at 41.08. Two guys Nada there, 41.20. That's going to be your top 4. And then TT up 1 Lancets with a 41.31, only 3 seconds up from the RR Woolly Rhinos for the 5th and 6th places. ZRG R TTT 3, 41.38 with the Raptors on their heels. Look at this. Team TFC, Team ODZ, and Vikings Volk Valnar. Destroyer of Cookies is right there. I mean, this is 8th, 9th, and 10th, all separated by less than a second. I love the competition in this because of that too. And when this is what I was talking about with in the world, when you start getting teams battling amongst the same categories and it really starts to get this evening out and everybody starts to figure out their placing, you get some of the best competitions you could possibly have. And that's really what this is about, week in and week out. Nice job to everybody in the Lattes there with Vikings Valhalla taking it down. 8th, 9th, and 10th, though, quite the battle here. And here's your boys at the top there, Dave.
Well, and another course record as well. Congratulations, guys. TBR Z6M1 taking the win with the 45.20. Look how close it was, though. 5 seconds. The Hurricane were closing it down. Good job, TFC. So Team TFC Hurricane in second. The Team Type 1 A1Cs. Love you guys. Bronze medal today. Solid ride. It's Los Ketchup in 4th. The Black Rhinos from RR in 5th. And Golf 6th. 2 guys. Palmier in 7th. Engrave in 8th versus Engard. I see what they're doing there. I like it, guys. It's TFC Hawk in 9th, and then the Vikings Berserker. Rounding out our top 10 here. Well, not quite all from the Premier League. Los Ketchup Racing in Zone 4. Good job, guys. See you next week in the Premier League. If you choose, right, Nathan? Some teams like where they're at time-wise. I get it.
Check this out here now, though, because we've got questions and there are answers coming. I actually have to reload this page. That did not work out the way that we were expecting. There we go. WTRL World TTT Championship 2020 course to be announced November 26th. Watch out for tomorrow for the announcements. Registration will close 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central time on next Wednesday. So, November 26, 2020, World TTT Tournament. Be on the watch out for the announcement tomorrow, everybody. I know a lot of people are excited about that. I do have to see the questions coming on through for chat. So, WTRL putting that on next week. If you want to get into that official World Championships, you can do so. Organize your team. And, official WTR World Championships, as far as WTRL is concerned.
I want to...
Go ahead, Dave.
Nathan, I would just want to say that before anybody messages me asking if I know, I don't.
Nope, we have. Same here.
No idea.
No idea. I'll put my hat. We had some discussion. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it here. We've got some ideas about what we would think. We're gonna have a conversation with Martin, but I have a feeling they've already got some decisions made on their own end. They're the experts when it comes to all of that, anyways. So. But great TTT out here today, guys. We are going to be back next week. Well, Zwift Live will be back for the ZRL, obviously, with the points race on Monday. And they'll have Matt and Hannah on board with Zwift Live. And then on Tuesday, we'll be there all day long with the Zwift Racing League for a points race. It's going to be lots of fun. And then there is going to be some more happening. We do see a lot of Zwift Community Live here is all about community. It's been about community from the get-go. Actually, it's funny that you would mention the Watopia Hill Climb Challenges with the Zwift Tour of North America, because literally I woke up this morning and how Facebook gives you memories, Dave?
Yeah,
One of my
yeah. Was it
memories
you with the mic with your hat on? And
with a hat on, and Dave and Bowen next to
yeah,
me, which was a long time Zwifter. And then you probably had some memories recently too, because it was going on at the same time
right.
4 years
Yep.
ago in 2016, right now. I mean, what a cool, everything kind of coming around about how this is all growing and everything. But, being about community, though, the point being, we've seen a lot of events that are popping up with live streams that are happening and stuff. World Elite Zwifters are doing something tomorrow on Fridays now. Be on the watch out for that if you want a cool event to do tomorrow. I definitely have seen them, putting some promotions out there. If you do tag us in that stuff, or you get out on the radar, we definitely want to highlight what everyone is up to in the community. So be on the watch out. We're on the watch out for that stuff, and just let us know. We definitely want to help out all the community members that are putting the work in out there. So I think Last Lot Live is on that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect example is Charlie, right? Reaching out, we communicated. He gave me some more information on the team, so enlightened me a little bit. And as you mentioned, Nathan, with the in real life events, I've met so many cool people through Zwift, and you can do that online as well. Don't ever be shy. I'm always happy to hear, and as is Nathan, about what's going on with your team. It gives us really great information for the broadcast. So love hearing from you, for sure.
100%. Also, World of Zwift will release tomorrow on Zwift's main pages. Zwift Live's main pages. So Zwift Live, and they also are on the Zwift product page over on YouTube. So be on the watch out for World of Zwift. We had some great chats with OJ Borg, and they do a great job with Coach's Corner with Kristen Armstrong, etc. Look at everything that's kind of going across the racing scene out on Zwift at the top level. So thanks everybody for tuning in.
I think some of
go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say some of your predictions on the show tomorrow that came from recording yesterday make you look pretty darn informed, Nathan. I must say, good job with that, man.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. We've been
Just
at this
See.
for a little while. Appreciate that, Dave. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. We always appreciate you as well. If you want to get notifications anytime that we do go live, you can just hit that little bell, turn on your notifications, hit the follow buttons, all that kind of stuff. It is a little extra to get notifications. If you want to do that, there is a little extra you do besides just liking or following, and you will get them pushed at you anytime we do go live. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, though. I'm Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle, Zwift Community Live. As always, ride on.